Hey guys, VaulSC here. Hope that you're having a good week. So I caught up with my buddy the other day to play an actual in-person game of infiNity. I know it's fairly rare these days, usually on TTS, and New Zealand doing pretty well, obviously with COVID not really being an issue for us at the moment. So, yep, met up for a game of Druze versus Dahshat Company, the mercenary factions battling it out on one of the new ITS missions, Mindwipe. Mindwipe is a mission that is kind of okay. One of the drawbacks is that it can be very difficult to actually get to the enemy deployment zone and kill the servers. That can be hard, and the randomization of which server contains the real rogue AI thing, I think, is a bit much. I'd prefer a scenario where it's a little bit more player controlled rather than that additional level of luck, but still a much better mission than, say, Power Pack or Acquisition or Biotech Vor, missions like that. Not very good. So we'll be running into it with Druze. I'll just quickly take you through my list. Druze, obviously, a little bit better than they were in the previous edition of infiNity. These days, hacking is a bit more useful. So this particular Druze profile is my favorite, the Killer Hacker, mainly because it has a pitcher and an X-Visor, allowing you to shoot the pitchers very reliably across the table and then instantly kill their hacker with your Trinity, or use Valeria Gromos for her Total Control +1 burst, or if you really want to try the Oblivion or Carbonite, you can do that. We also have the Camille Evo Hacker in the team in Group 2. That's there to provide refills of the pitcher with baggage, but also to use assisted fire on your Clipper. The Clipper can, of course, join the link team of Valeria and the Druze, who we already have. We also can add the Brawler, a multi-sniper, to the link team as well, if we'd like to have a MSV2 gun in there. I quite like that particular profile. Taking a Brawler Lieutenant as well, just because it's a lot cheaper than the Druze Lieutenant. You can add this guy to the link team or leave him out of it as you see fit. 2 Bounty Hunters there. Bounty Hunters just cheap as chips. The cheerleaders, even if they don't go on the link team, they are great. But with the booty reroll, they can be very, very useful to have around for your link team if they pick up machine guns or sniper rifles, multi-rifles, extra armor, that kind of thing. So well worth taking in any Druze list. So the great thing about this is you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 models which can all be in the link, but at any given time you only have 5 of them, and you can refill it as guys drop, or you can mix and match depending on what you need to do tactically. Scarface, my favorite Scarface profile is the APHMG. He is a lot better than he used to be. Scarface now I'm a 7. He's got Berserk now, with a pretty decent chance of just charging into close combat quite nastily. Tactical awareness still there. Cordelia is very useful for repairing your Clipper John bot or Scarface himself if it comes to that. So the APHMG is just slightly more useful than the AP Spitfire, even with the burst on the Spitfire and the Mark 12. You really want to be deploying him, in a place where you can gun down enemy warcores and flash pulse spots and, some sort of tanky kind of sniper. That's his job, basically. Saito Dagan, I think really useful for his smoke. That will help you with your sniping from the Brawler MSV2 sniper, but also because he's a specialist in Druze, very, very useful infiltrating specialist, but also a real big problem solver in the midfield for a lot of enemies that need to be taken down in close combat. Very good at killing a tag, for example, by just splashing the smoke and then just going and chopping it down. Hunzakut, extremely cheap and effective button presser at whip 14. You can spin as a regular order to walk out there and just easily, flip a switch and then place a mine. But additionally, on top of that, he's got the deployable repeater again, which increases the threat range of your Killer Hacker and your tank busting Valeria over here. Sometimes they won't have the right angles to shoot through big buildings to land the pitches where you need them. But if you have a Hunzakut out there on the top of a building, it may be able to walk across, lay the deployable repeater, rather, which is really good. And then, of course, you just have the extra points here for the Warcore and 2 Fugazis. So, pretty good Druze list, if I do say so myself. This is with Mindwipe in mind, though. Pun intended. My opponent trying out Dahshat. He's a less experienced player, but he has improved a lot since he's been playing O12 and Star Martyr. He's now gotten into Dahshat Company and is performing a lot better with them. Zuyong Takuena's HMG, a staple. You always take that guy. Valeria, for the same reasons I take her. She still has the pitcher. Even without the X-Visor, you'll sometimes get the job done. Bounty Hunters, the 12-point guy, obviously, is premium. You would never take any of the other Bounty Hunter profiles, in my opinion. Ghulam for the extra command token, and you've also got another Ghulam somewhere as a decoy. Brawler multi-sniper rifle, I find this a bit questionable because in this faction you can't actually join a link team, and if he's just sitting there by himself, not the best, but if you've got McMurray planting smoke first, he can still gun some things down in the active turn just by standing up and shooting through the smoke. The Facade, not my favourite profile in the world, but they have buffed him with +1 burst on the heavy rocket launcher, so he can be a bit of a roadblock ARO and active turn bully, to be honest, with +1 burst. The Zuyong's doing that job a lot of the time, but he's a pretty strong profile. It's just the price tag of 45 points. You sort of got to ask yourself whether it's worth it. And a lot of time he is, but sometimes he won't be. Rafik Sensorbot, pretty decent. A lot of people take camo on the list. Hidden deployment midfielders, that can definitely do the job there. Also acts as a repeater. Zensha, pretty solid unit. Liberto with mimetism, that's the staple bonus for Dahshat company, the characteristic signature Liberto. Obvious McMurray is obvious. Cum Rider, nothing wrong with these guys. He's taking the cheapest one possible, which I think's fine. Doctor +3 with Nazmat, excellent. I tend to save a couple of points on just taking the 112 emergency service guy. But to be honest, I mean, whip 13 versus whip effectively 17, and you're only paying an extra couple of points for that. How much is it total? So 12 versus 15, so an extra 3 points for that huge reliability. My only argument is that with the +1 command token here, you're giving yourself another Doctor reroll, so you may as well sort of save yourself the points and use it, but that's just my view. I mean, the Ghulam Doctor is still excellent. So let's get into this game, see how it went. Typical terrain layout here from me. Let me just minimize my cam and we'll get into it. Chuck this up here. Alrighty. So this is my table layout. Let's just point out a few features of the missions. So you've got a couple of consoles in the middle. Once you've collected one of them, your opponent can't go and grab the other one. So going first isn't actually that bad in this mission because you can actually determine which one you're defending and which one you're going to be holding straight away. Then you've got these 3 servers which appear in the deployment zones. It's worth a bunch of points to, first of all, press the console, find out which one the rogue AI is in by randomization, and then go and kill it, either by attacking it in close combat with an anti-material weapon, or moving within 8 inches of it with your tactical Uber hacker, which in this case is going to be Valeria Gromos on both sides, and destroying it that way. But it's a mission where these can be defended quite easily. I mean, the deployment zone edges are sort of around here-ish. So you can sort of see how much work your opponent has to do to get near them, let alone touch them with a close combat specialist. But we'll see how that goes this game. My opponent is taking first turn here. I've won the roll and picked tableside. So he's going to be setting up with first turn. Cum Rider on his right-hand side. We're going to prone Brawler here. The Link team situated on this side. You've got the Zuyong in the middle. And a bunch of bounty hunters. I think one of them picks up a multi-sniper, the other ones pick up stuff like close combat weapons and grenades and stuff that's not too relevant. Nazmat over here connected to the Doctor, which is also sitting behind the Alpha Seed heavy rocket launcher, which is standing up on that building on that side. So a nice glamour close-up of the Kun Rider. And then this is the midfield of the deployment zone, so you can see the standing up Alpha Seed in the center, Zuyong out here. Remember, he's going first, so he's going to have the chance to move out in correct positions. Rafik Bot to the left of them down the bottom of the stairs. Then you've got one of the Ghulams around the back. And look further to the flank, we've got the other Ghulam. So the two of them are both set up back here with the Doctor on the roof and the Rafik there. A couple of camo markers out in the midfield here. You can see this is the opposite sort of view with his Facade on that side. And then this is his left-hand flank here. Liberto on the roof plus the camo marker down on the bottom, which of course is Liberto's mine. On the staircase nearby to his link team, he's got the Zensha nearby to this objective here, which you can move out and press the button on that console. This is his HVT on his right-hand side flank behind this crate. This is a hidden deployment photo of Saito Tugan. Not fully painted yet, but it is a conversion. If I zoom out, I can actually just pinpoint that Saito's position there in front of where the tag is. This was the initial location for the tag, but then I realized I didn't have a reserve trooper, so I took him off the table and then deployed him here later on. So that's my lieutenant on the right-hand flank, War Corps, a flash pulse spot in the middle, and the bulk of the army is going on the left-hand side. So there's the glamour close-up of Mr. Tag. Let's talk you through the left-hand side of the deployment. So, link team, Clipper standing up on top of the roof. We've got Cordelia nearby, prone, just so that she can walk over or crawl over there and repair him once he goes down. Flashball spot on the roof. That's actually helpful as the repeater, because the Evo bot's deployed over this side of the table. The Evo can put assisted fire onto this Clipper bot through this repeater here quite nicely. And also, if somebody comes around on top of this building, maybe like McMurrow or something trying to bomb my guys, at least I've got a flash pulse looking that way. Not that the flash pulse does anything to him, but at least you can contest the face-to-face roll, stop smoke going down or something. Valeria right here on prone on the staircase, multi-sniper at the back. This is the link leader. So basically at the moment we're connected to this guy. That's a connection, this guy, and Valeria, so they're all part of the link team, and there's another model over that way, which is going to be the Druze Killer Hacker. So Druze Killer Hacker is actually represented by this Zayadan model, not Zayadan, I'm thinking of Huxlan. Zan Ying, is that the right model? I can't remember, it's an Imperial Service guy. So here is the link team. I'll just sort of show you where the connections actually are. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 connected to that link leader there. Evo bot is back here, and that's why we've got the repeater over here to get the range for our Clipper. Another bounty hunter on this side. So one of the bounty hunters picks up +4 armor, and the other one picks up a multi-sniper, which was quite handy. So that's pretty awesome. We've got the Hundscud out in the midfield here. My HVT is on this side, and that's pretty much the whole army. Close-up view of Valeria, who is given this data pack marker to represent the fact that she's an Uber hacker. Then we have McMurrow going down on the enemy side in the reserve trooper deployments, and this is the final location of Scarface after I took him off the table, then put him back on as a reserve trooper, just covering this long lane in the middle of the table. So my opponent going first after I've stripped 2 orders from Group 1, which did contain McMurrow, if I recall correctly. So Corn Rider moves out, throws a smoke grenade. We then have the link team moving out, moving around, just getting to position, using tactical awareness, going through the mid zone of the table, and just setting up so that he can fire his Zuyong at my Clipper John bot. It's a good move because the Zuyong's hitting on 16s, and he gets inside of the good range band of the Clipper, so the Clipper will hit on 12s with 2 dice. As always, infiNity can be risky. There's a lot of variance. If he messes this up and the Zuyong just dies in his active turn, then it's going to be a really struggle of a game. But he does knock out the Clipper John bot. Luckily for me, it only takes 2 wounds, goes prone as a result of unconscious, and as planned, Cordelia will be able to move over and revive him. We'll spend a command token to add him back to the link team later. Then we have Valeria moving out through the center of the table and firing her pitcher. My opponent chooses a weird place for the pitchers in this situation. He just fires them both over to my right-hand side. Yes, this does mean if the tag of Scarface is moving through to grab the middle objective and then walk over towards his server area in the deployment zone, he will be able to hack me. But this isn't anywhere near my link team or anything like that, and the markers are quite easy to avoid, and I might even be able to move over there myself and actually hack him through his own repeaters. Of course, the better way for me to do that would just be to fire my own repeaters towards him, so that's what will happen later. And then he starts moving back to reposition the team. To be honest, this is a little bit of an oversight, doesn't quite get everybody where there needs to be, sort of runs out of orders. You really have to be careful when you're playing a big link team in the early stages of the game. Ending up out of position means that your troopers can be picked off, and that's sort of what's happening. He's moving his HMG around here, standing up just to cover the midfield of the table. And you've got 3 people bunched up around here, and they could be vulnerable to a shotgun or chain rifle from me coming around that flank. And this guy's just completely out of position, not actually part of the link team at all. So this is a 4-man link team, unfortunately, which will allow me to hopefully bully this guy and reduce the chance of these guys being successful later. Grim Rider now moving now just next to my HVT, just trying to stay out of line of fire of various people. And then with his group 2, moves the Zenshar down the stairs, goes and grabs the objective. There is a smoke template to the right of this, so Zenshar successfully pressing the button, it will reveal one of my servers. Luckily for me, it's the middle one, which is a fairly easy one to defend, and then he's going to be heading back up the stairs and hiding, going back into camo state. We've put a power-up marker next to the middle objective here, showing you the one he's going to be trying to destroy. And then after placing a mine, the Zenshar is retreating up the stairs, and what he's going to be doing is he's going to be moving all the way around there to the other side of the building and standing up, watching the table with his Panzerfaust. So this should give you an indication of where he is. So you've got the the Alpha Seed watching the mid zone of the table with his rocket launcher. This guy is directly watching the link team location that I'll be moving from with his Panzerfaust. His Zuyong is on the other side of this building, so can't see me just yet. And the fact that this guy's in camo is annoying. He's set up a mine next to the objective. I do need to go to this objective now. I don't have the option of going for this one because he's already taken it. So for me to bag this objective, I'm going to have to be walking in front of his Panzerfaust, his Alpha Seed, and his Zuyong in the link team. But I will have a lot of orders because he hasn't really killed that much. So at the beginning of my first turn here for Druze, Cordelia does crawl over, revives the Clipper drone bot. We spend it in order to get him back into the link team. We then move the link team out. Note that the link leader here is the Panzerfaust. I am baiting him to reveal his Panzerfaust and shoot somebody else. For example, he probably could shoot the Clipper or this other bounty hunter here for free. We're leaving Valeria on the steps because she's much more important. But the plan is really just to try and knock this guy out and then move on. My opponent does decide to go for the face-to-face roll and fire the Panzerfaust at the multi-sniper. He has cover, I don't. So I'm taking a risk here. I'm actually going to be in a little bit of trouble if this gets completely flubbed. He needs 15s on 1 dice. I need 15s on 3 dice. So the odds are definitely weighted towards me, but it is risky. With infiNity, you kind of have to manage your risks pretty well, but I didn't see a lot of other great options. I could have perhaps tried to have maneuvered Scarface around there, but I didn't really want to try for that. I also need to discover him before doing this, and I had to spend a whole order doing that. Luckily for me, it didn't go south. It worked out all right. The dice came up and did nail this Panzerfaust guy, so we can continue moving. But it was a bit of a scary moment. We also have to, because this clipper's too fat to fit down the stairs, he actually has to climb down the bottom of this, or even jump. In fact, jumping's better because Valeria can jump this way, and he can jump over here, and he can jump in a parabola like that. Just makes a lot more sense. So the link team fully moving out now. We also have Scarface just moving out a little bit so he can gun down that bounty hunter on the roof that got stranded and left out of the link team. So an unfortunate position from to be in. Scarface capitalizes on that with his tactical awareness order, and we move on with this guy biting the dust. So Valeria and the squad, 2 bounty hunters, the Druze and the Clipper, now moving out. She's working her way towards a position where she can fire her pitcher a couple of times, or more correctly, that the Zanying can fire the pitcher. He's looking for an angle basically past this crate of boxes here and this billboard. So there's actually an angle through there where he can land the repeaters near to the stairs, and that will put the repeaters near to Valeria. So you can see a visualization there. On the left-hand side, those 2 blue stone pebble things next to the mine are where the Zanying has shot them both. Zanying in the full link team, sorry, the Druze, Killer Hacker in the full link team, plants them both down successfully, meaning the next order I can simply move back. His Valeria has to respond with a reset or a carbonite or an oblivion or something, but the Trinity easily takes that down, and he's just lost his Uber hacker, whereas I've still got mine. Unfortunately, I've made a similar mistake to him. I've left the link team out in the midfield. There's just barely enough time to put them in various ARO spots, but if my opponent really wants to, he'll be able to move out and pick up some targets here. I'm also able to spotlight one of his Druze with my with Valeria, I think in her last order. So she does make it back to the stairs where she'll be a bit safer. We also have this guy being targeted by spotlight, so if he doesn't shrug that off next turn, I'll be able to blow him up with the Clipper guided missile. Alright, the Hunzerkut reveals and just finds the back of the silhouette of that bike. So she has to move back first, wait for him to delay, then just basically idles. That puts him out of chain rifle range. Comes out to about here. And then she reveals and shoots him, and with the rifle and surprise shot does nail him. So that's the Kum Rider down. Then she just tries to discover the mine, doesn't succeed, goes prone, flat on the ground, is safe for now. So opponent's turn 2, Dahshat turn 2, the Doctor stands up, is able to go and revive the bounty hunter. So very useful to have the Ghulam Doctor right there. So reviving him looks really good. We then have a moment of the game where the Alpha Seed stands up and moves across the line here and does go for a long-range rocket at Scarface's location. And I was caught by surprise at the 3 dice versus my 1 dice. We were both out of range, so 7s for him and 7s for me, both, well, 3 for him, 1 for me. Bad news for Scarface, he whiffs it. One of the rockets does land home and hits. I failed 2 armor saves in a row, which is annoying, but he does ignore cover with his rocket, so the armor 7 didn't quite save me there. But saving the last one, I'm able to just dance back into cover with Scarface, licking his wounds, smoke pouring out of his orifices, and he'll have to wait for a better time. So that's cleared the aero out of the way. He can now move his link team and Alpha Seed and do whatever he wants in the midfield. We then have McMurray stomping his way across the left-hand flank. Note that this building represents just the side of the table. You can't actually go into that area, so that's just the side of the board. So he continues to move through, throws a smoke grenade there just to block off my my link team with the Clipper and whatnot, which was covering the mid sort of side of the table. So that's been defended. Then he's continuing to move around. My lieutenant is a sitting duck here if McMurray comes over and hits him with a grenade or a couple of chain rifles. But he doesn't quite have enough orders to get there. He considered jumping up here and then throwing a smoke in the way, but the problem with that move that he correctly realized is that even if he gets the smoke down in the face of McMurray, he'll be stuck there, and with no more orders, McMurray will just get shot at by an HMG. So he decides to end with McMurray just over this side here, behind the building, which is kind of hilarious. I'm going to have to either kill him or get the lieutenant to safety somehow, otherwise I'm going to be playing my final turn and like lost a lieutenant. Liberto also going prone and moving across the bridge here. This is another way for him to come and take out my lieutenant in the final turn. So, it does come back to me with my turn 2. So, Scarface, with only 1 wound left, decides to go after the Alpha Seed to retaliate. Bearing in mind, it's still 7s for me and 7s for my opponent. Only difference is that I have 4 dice, he has 1 dice. So, statistically, odds are strong that Scarface will just kill him. But it's also possible for me to just die here. What ends up happening is that my opponent rolls a 6, and I rolled 3 7s, which is the only, like the second time ever that I've rolled a triple crit in my entire infiNity career, but had to take a photo of this because it was kind of crazy. This forces 6 armor saves, and the Alpha Seed promptly dies. But yeah, luck definitely going my way during this game. There were a lot of sort of really hot shootouts that, you know, could have just been blundered out and just whiffed. But didn't really happen. The machine gun really pulling it through there with the Trip 7. This poor bandit here, this bounty hunter has been targeted, so wasting no time to spending an order, bombing him with the Clipper, firing a guided missile which promptly blows him up. Then we continue moving out here with the full link team. The plan is to go after the Zuyong with the close range SMG, so after a few orders getting into position, we can then move around the corner. Note that this piece of terrain here blocks line of sight from the Zuyong to see the rest of the team. I'm just moving up with the bounty hunter here, shooting the SMG at him at very close range. So he whips out the breaker pistol. This is still a 3-man link team, so he has 2 shots, but after several orders spent, the SMG guy eventually gets the better of him, or at least forces him to guts into cover. And then, after he's been wounded and put down, we can continue moving out. There was a moment where I actually had to move the full link team across the gap in full face of him. So the breaker pistols actually go for this guy, because his feeling is that I'm going to go for the objective. He wants to knock this model out, which gives me free shots with the bounty hunter, so basically sacrificing my Druze guy to knock out the Zuyong. I still have Valeria to go after the objective, which is why I'm playing it this way, and that allows me one opportunity to shoot McMurray with the sniper rifle, and I really needed this to work. 3 shots versus 1, I mean, he can just dodge on a normal 16, I'm hitting him on like 15s after I've lost my my Druze here, so kind of a risky play. I mean, I knew that I could end the turn with this guy facing McMurray, stopping him from impetuousing up there, and I could have spent an order going to suppression fire or running away with my Druze lieutenant. But luckily for me again, the sniper rifle knocks this guy out and actually pulls through. So feeling very good about how the dice rolls are going this game. Having some really good luck indeed. So with McMurray down, we move into the final stretches of turn 2 here. I've got my lieutenant, Valeria nearby to go and grab the objective, which she does, successfully planting that. We realize the rogue AI is in the central server for the mid zone of the Dahshat deployment zone, then it's just a matter of moving somewhere to stand out in the middle of, like, nowhere, basically, out in the open, because we're basically out of orders, that's it. The Hunzerkut does get down from the building, though, and this is quite important. It may not seem important, but she moves over here, and she stands behind the crate, so that nothing on his deployment zone can see past here. They've got lines of sight around here and around here, but she's in range of the enemy HVT, and there's nobody in range of my HVT over here. And the reason why this is so crucial is that my opponent has only one turn left. He's never going to be able to get to the server. And the only way you can win is by completing a classified, and for me to not have my classified. So if I distract him with all of the other problems in the midfield, there's a link team standing out in the middle of the board, and the Hunzerkut quietly just waits here for my final turn. This is my path to victory. This is my real way of winning. I'll need a lot of luck and good dice rolls to actually get to his deployment zone and kill his server. But if I can distract him enough that this model stays there, then I will win the game. Unless, of course, he gets his classified, in which case it's a draw, but that is not on the cards yet. So, Warcore, irregular order moving around here just to have a line of fire through the middle of the table. My opponent, you can see here in his deployment zone, this is the Rogue AI server. He stands up with his Brawler in his final turn, basically just to watch the corner, just so that my Hunzerkut can't move out from beyond it. But the Hunzerkut is basically behind this piece of scenery here. It's in range of the HVT, so the Brawler won't really be able to do anything. Liberto now is going to be going for a bit of a run. So he's crawling, prone. He's going to try and end up in the corner of this building so he can see from down at the top at the Brawler here. And thus taking out my lieutenant, meaning that my final turn will basically be a non-event full turn. So he moves all the way over, eventually stands up, goes for the shotgun blast. The Brawler is able to shoot back with his own shotgun, and luckily for me, managing to pass an armor save here and keeping the Brawler alive. We also have some flash pulses going off, but that doesn't affect the Liberto, as it turns out. Decided to reveal Saito in his next attempt. I should have done this the first time, but Saito is revealed throwing a smoke grenade in the way, just in the off chance I might be able to protect my lieutenant. And my opponent, again, whiffing it a little bit, missing one of his shots, getting one of them through, the Brawler just passing the armor save in an amazing stroke of luck for the Druze army list here. The smoke goes down, Liberto completely thwarted, and that's basically it. Nothing Liberto can do. Flash pulses go off, he's stunned, and he's going to have to end the turn that way. Other troopers over here moving around just to cover lines of sight. This model's got a sniper rifle. Zuyong's already down. Another Gulam standing up to defend the objective here. And that's basically it. I mean, it comes to my third and final turn. I don't need the lieutenant anymore because the order count's already done. I can't be in lost lieutenant. It's the last turn, so he stands up, tries blasting the Liberto with a shotgun. Doesn't quite take him down, so I'm having to move out with Scarface and rip into him with the HMG. I just don't want the Liberto firing a shotgun long range at my link team as I move through the middle, so I'm having to rip him up here with Scarface. Then we move out with a team. I'm having to sort of carefully work my way through various different AROs one by one, just knocking them down, bounty hunter first, then a Gulam, blah blah blah. Valeria's moving through towards this deployment zone, and as she moves towards this building over here, he's got a couple of Gulams up there and a doctor, and etc., which can stand up if they pass dodge checks, but as she moves towards them, my opponent just continuing to fail the dodge checks. We're also able to move over here with this bounty hunter sniper, which picked up a sniper rifle earlier in the game from the booty, firing at his Brawler. 3 dice from me, 1 dice from him, ends up knocking him down. By the way, I did get hit by an adhesive launcher at some point from his other bounty hunter, so we're having to move on without him. Valeria moving along here, she does eventually get into range of the server after we blast this Rafik with our various different guns. And unbelievably, this bounty hunter here and the Gulam, 3 turns in a row, they both failed a dodge check to stand up and provide additional arrows. So the dice just love slapping people when they're down and just adding insult to injury. But it allows Valeria to come across here, just start hacking the enemy console, double BTS check from the double action every time she passes her check, and it ends with the Rogue AI server going down. So a very, very big win to Druze, but it shouldn't have really been a really big win here with Valeria getting in range of the console. What should have happened is that I should have lost my lieutenant or just died to some of the arrows earlier, and the game really should have just come down to a 2-1 victory for Druze. when we look back at where the Hunzakut was positioned much earlier in this game. So those of you who like showy games, you got it, but at the end of the day, it's that Hunzakut play that really made it, importantly. Hope you guys learned something from this game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the commentary for Druze versus Dahshat. Had a lot of fun. My opponent, though he's less experienced, still making some mistakes, is getting way better, and he'll soon hit that very low infiNity skill ceiling, as I like to call it. But for now, guys, we'll be playing some more TTS games, more content in future, and thanks for checking out this bat rep as always.